Just
this meeting is being recorded. Please generate bodhicitta for the benefit of all sentient beings. Therefore, I will be giving some teaching, and you are listening teaching to Dharma. And so, first of all, I would like to say that congratulations to everyone. You know, we made all the way here, and people sometimes ask questions. How are you? How have you been? I sometimes talk about, well, it was difficult during the pandemic, etc. But then at the end, I feel like how we have been during this pandemic, and we still have health. I mean, we're still functioning, able to talk, and able to enjoy sunshine, able to basically alive, and it's such blessing. And actually, someone told me that. I said, "How are you?" And this friend said that, "Oh, I can't complain anything. I just have health. Consider how we went through." I was like, "Wow, that's big." And regard with at KTD, I have this sense of feeling that we all know that Rinpoche kind of passed away unexpectedly. It wasn't. I mean, everything. We are very we tend to think that everything be there, everything gonna be fine, etc. But Rinpoche's case, was a little bit sudden for me, especially. I feel maybe I thought that he would live, a little uh, longer, at least. Like I mean, it was almost 100 years old. I mean, like 4 years to go, and then he passed away. And then I think a lot during the pandemic because. As I mentioned before, I expressed a lot that there are a lot of stress, a lot of situation, and then fortunately, fortunately that most people are already vaccinated, especially at KTD. Nobody got sick. It was very healthy, and as I mentioned earlier, that sometimes I have this sense that Rinpoche uh, knew something, Rinpoche knew something that terrible could happen, and as a true bodhisattva, we talk about bodhisattva like Chinese bodhisattva, Shantindeva, and a living example. I studied a lot of philosophy, especially like bodhicitta, such, but a living example is truly was about Khenpo Rinpoche. Um, so sometimes there's a sense of feeling that Rinpoche must so or this could happen, and he must took with him a lot of obstacles or and um, or like the terrible things could happen could removed by his uh, you know loving kindness and compassion. And so now you most of you probably saw the news that we sent about partial reopening. We were trying to use the word, choose the word. Some, suggested limited uh, reopening, and I choose partial reopening. I like that word better. And so tonight, the topic is using practice to integrate back into the world with love and compassion. I haven't back to the world yet. So what can I say? But actually, I'm already at KTD. Started to work and go to my office and mm, meeting with staff, and right now we are organizing and having this long life puja and then this reopening part. So we call it partial reopening because I'm very conservative individual. I just want to make sure that all of a sudden, like in Tibet, when we do puja, all the monks waiting outside, and the moment they open the gate, everybody's like, that, everybody is anxious. Everybody is really excited. There's a reason because people just been, isolated so long, and I wasn't able to see friends. We all understand that, and but we have these restrictions, such as you must wear masks. Let's see how it goes. At the beginning, but of course, if things get better and better, and then we could go back to normal. So I think first, as I expressed earlier, that I haven't really been into public, but when I go back to KTG and I see people, and sometimes I see a lot of people. And first reaction, what I have is that truly, so there's a sense of joy, or sense of rejoicing. When I every time we have this meeting or teaching, when I see you guys, and I have this sense of joy that, oh, okay, we are still here, and we are still people are still have the health, and not really affected by the pandemic. And so when I go to KTD, I have a similar sense because people really been through a lot of suffering, family situation, economy situation, such. But as a practitioner, as we say, through the blessing of three jewels, blessing of Guru, we are still, exist. So I have this sense of rejoice because what does the meaning of rejoice or rejoicing is that when we talk about Buddha's teaching, especially the four immeasurables, and one of them is known as what do you call it? Gawa in Tibetan, which means joyful or rejoice or delightful. So I think what I'm trying to say is that no matter who they are, whether you know or the person or not, uh, when you go to work, I know a lot of people already been there, but it's not only beginning, but a lot of people are already interacting with people. But try to have that joy, the kind of rejoicing. Oh wow, in your work, this individual, whoever is working with you, or he's or she's still alive. I'm so happy they are still, here. So delightful mind or rejoice is, I think, it's very, very important. And the second, as a practitioner, is that I think one of the things that people told me when they begin to interact with people is that there's a sense of still, sense of little bit of distance, unlike before, because you can't just to go there and have a hug. We still have that sense of distance and a sense of fear or sense of little bit, lonely. Even though you can say, "Oh, hi, how are you? I'm, so good," but you still can't just go like before, like you can't. give a hug or such. And so my second kind of feeling, or my second kind of idea is that when you see somebody, whether you know or not, if someone like at center or someone, your friends or whoever you you meet, and whether you are doing handshaking or whatever you're doing. So uh, the idea, or what kind of idea we're trying to generate in our mind is that there's teaching by Nagarjuna in his Madhyamika teachings. He explained that the individuals who individuals who have their own how do you say, mm, individuals have their own lifestyle or their own physical feature, or whatever they appear, whatever individual you meet or individuals you see, there's absolute connection, mental connection with us. So what does that mean, mental connection? uh, the person who carries or who have this senses or karma, whatever the individual have, is basically a beginning of making connection in your future, sort of like both sides of a path. What does that mean? So the moment when you see an individual, especially after the pandemic, you feel a sense of a little bit of shock, or a little bit of physical distance. But the first concept you want to take when you see your relatives or individuals, that physically the reaction or identity doesn't matter, but you have this uh, uh, kind of natural connection with that individual. Nagarjuna said that what does the natural connection is that when you uh, look at like space or mountains, or or like houses such, they all have different shape. The mountains have different shape, and individuals have different physical conditions such. But then there's a sense of uh, transparent transparent connection with every individual. Because the reason why I say that this is particular, the second idea is kind of connecting with other people, is that because you haven't seen them for a long time, you haven't interacted with them for a long time, you have this sense of shock, or sense of it's more stronger than other times, like in previous times. So when that happens, and you have to remember that shocking feeling, or that kind of sense of feeling is uh, immediately connecting with the other individual's feeling, the temporary or the relative feeling. And through that connection, the feeling connection, or whatever you are experiencing, and already making like ultimate connection with that individual. Because uh, when you experience like shocking, like the other individual also experience something, right? So they can sense you, but at the same time, the fundamental wisdom is already connected. So you can kind of pull back yourself, just kind of resting or mixing your mind with that individual. So what Nagarjuna is saying, that because you already started your path with enlightenment, and you will be connect that individual in the future if you become a bodhisattva or like Buddha, so they become your students. So two things what I'm trying to say here. Maybe I'm not so making so clear. And number one is joy or rejoice, which means oh this whoever sees or whoever you meet, or your family or friends, oh I'm so happy, they are still exist. And the second, strong connection or strong emotion arise, or strong, like when you meet individuals coming to the world, maybe all of a sudden you are being in a crowd and you kind of know where to escape because everybody's vaccinated and everybody's oh no problem, no problem. But there's a sense of shocking or sense of very strong feeling. And when that happens, it, as Nagarjuna mentioned, just thinking that this through this kind of strong feeling or strong reaction that I have or he or she has, you're already making connection ultimately. So instead of you feel stressed, just you know thinking that this is a good thing that I'm connecting with this individual, emotional level, but also like a primordial level. Um, so that is the first, two ideas or maybe methods that I think we could use. So how we go back, integrate our life with the world. And then in this topic, I mentioned about compassion and loving kindness. That is extremely important for us to, practice. So, how do we practice loving kindness and compassion during this, um, uh, how do we say, comeback during this, back to the world. So number one is loving kindness. Loving kindness meaning that the definition of loving kindness is you any individual you meet. I think I kind of mentioned this before. Oh, this no matter how they react, what they say, it's likable. He or she is really likable. Everyone has this likableness. Everyone has something you like. Individuals or people that you don't like at all. It's because we use the negative projection from our mind. Because when our mind is a little negative, then you see others negative or it's something that irritates you because mainly it's a punishment that we go through every day. We just we are so good about punishing ourselves by following negative feelings. So it's very hard for us to have a loving kindness to others. But a mother, I know this topic I talk all the time, maybe you'll be really getting really bored, but a mother, a loving mother, when she look at her children, regardless what their behavior, regardless what they have, histories, maybe they've done terrible things like, maybe uh, really killing people, such, they could do anything, but still a loving mother's uh, mind is this as sense of likable. There's so much likable in her mind. There's no such thing that her mind is full of heated. She there's her son or daughter, whatever, whoever has doing a lot of bad things, but still have the sense of likable. And so, as a practitioner, uh, there's one of the method that we're using daily is the TV or news to really pollute our mind. Because one hand we are feeding the negative feelings by this you know uh, corruptions, let's say, whether it's corruption or not, but we just have a little addiction to explore or like enhance our negative emotions. So then, we tend to experience a lot of feeling negative emotions, and then we tend to, tend not able to go beyond that, environment. So we are cycling in this very narrative mind and led by ego or so-called I. And so once we listen to I, strongly feeling existing and listen to this I, so-called, or ego, and so there's no way for us to escape in this small inside uh, cyclic existence or samsara, because samsara means cyclic existence born in um, uh, God's room, or then like such, the six realms of samsara. So that is more like external, physically born in those places. But we basically, going through the six realms of samsara inwardly, emotionally, every day. So that means when we maybe, temporarily don't have jealous, but we have anger. And if you don't have anger, then attachment and ignorance are always there. So we kind of, cycling within this very narrative, very neurotic um, mind, and leading by ego, which is the problem is listening to ego is because you are listening to someone that is never existed. So we just supporting by all these negative emotions to really strengthen their ego, letting him lead and letting him control our mind. And so loving kindness is when you begin to kind of release that egoistic mind. When I say release, meaning that, oh, okay, maybe we begin to discover that I'm not going anywhere. I'm just pulling back myself into this cyclic existence, and kind of you wake up from that confusion, and then you begin to kind of discover that ego, or like I, so-called, is something that we so attached to, but there's nothing to attach to. Sometimes like meditation, we call meditation. Um, it's the moment we do really meditation is because we still have this strong ego, and you are really looking for something. You are constantly uh, uh, select what kind of feeling I like, rather than really, doing actual meditation. So actual meditation, always have to do with uh, uh, basically opposite of what we are doing. What we are doing is just chasing feeling, and then you just using your ego and let the ego choose which feeling is good, judging this feeling is maybe meditation, this feeling is not, because uh, the actual meditators, when they experience authentic meditation, there's no second thought or second question thinking, oh, maybe this or that, because your confidence, your conviction, you will be convinced from inwardly rather than putting extra effort from outside. And so this is a problem of lacking of loving kindness is because we are very caught with ego or I. And once you begin to uh, discovering that this uh, ego, like I or me, is something that we attach to, but not really existing. So practical meditation view is that uh, the meditation kind of way of dealing with that ego is. I always kind of say this is that you middle of your um, feeling of sorrow or feeling of stress or feeling of this very strong attached to ego, such. And the moment you kind of letting go, or the moment you uh, uh, basically relax, and that very moment, that very presence, um, whether it's your doubts or whether it's uh, mm, jealous or whatever feeling you are experiencing, if you kind of rest in that natural state. So natural state means you are not following or selecting certain feelings, whether it's this is good meditation or this is not, but simply resting in the way it is you know kind of I think very effective way to cutting your ego or cutting your discursive thoughts. This is a method that I just teach a lot through self liberation meditation or any meditation that we do. But it is, it's individuals how you really use these methods, how you really interact. If you letting go the teachings, passing through your ears, and well, that makes sense. But it is something more transmissible, which means you are really resting in that very natural. So this is I don't know how this teaching come up, but it's I was trying to explain and meditation on loving kindness and likable. Uh, so, uh, so when you come out, as I mentioned before, that you'll be shocked and you'll be surprised, a lot of emotional excitement, actually a lot of joy there as well. Oh wow, we got back to normal. All these feelings emerge, but at the same time, of course, it's like we just released from cave, right? The wild animals captured and then such wilderness. No, wilderness doesn't have cage. Such cage, and then all of a sudden, released emotionally pretty high, actually high emotions. I noticed myself. I never low my emotion anyway in my life. So I just something like really all of a sudden just exploration happens. But once again, I think we have to um, kind of remind again that the first method, rejoice. Oh, this individual that you are talking with, or his or she is really, still exist and rejoicing. And then you just search mentally, while you're looking at that individual, then you will begin to discover, oh, this is likable. The family that you maybe struggle all the time. You say loved ones, right? So you, oh, my, it's just so much pain and such that. But then seriously, they are so much lovable and so much likable. The way they express, with where how they express, and even like they express a very negative way. There's also something lovable and something likable. And of course, like Bodhisattva way of teaching talk about mother, loving mother is like a child. And this is I'm just so really thrilled that Buddha, we say Buddha knows everything. I think it proves because I'm a dad, and I thought I just have so much sacrifice, but I could see the differences between dad and mom. Right, mom is just real love and just sacrifice. It's just another different level. I mean, dad's good, but so I kind of see that why Buddha taking example, mother is like loving kindness or compassion example. So loving kindness is basically comes down to likable. You have to be likable before you talk about, this individual suffering. So once we say likable means whether he or she, whether it's your family members or friends or enemies, doesn't matter. Whatever they act, it's whatever image you see, it's negative or positive, but still you say likable. Why it's likable? Simply because this individual is the the one you deal with is constantly constantly like your child, always looking for happiness and free from suffering, constantly doing that. So you have this always even you at times it's hard, but you say, oh, it's lovable and likable, because that's how you can get rid of some of these ego armies, because you have so many armies to support your king, the ego, who controls everything. Then compassion. Compassion means a sense of made this individual free from suffering. But one thing what Shantideva said that mentioned in his teachings, that we are just so thankful to all sentient beings, all sentient beings, whether they are good or bad, relatively. I'm just so thankful because the only way to be a great practitioner, the only way to achieve enlightenment is only because you are able to perfect patience. If you can perfect patience. And when I think about patience, when I became a president of KTD, and my teacher, I told Rinpoche I was appointed as president. Rinpoche said, he kind of, looked into my eyes and almost like a red, that you don't have patience. He basically said, well, if you have patience, everything's gonna be fine. So, so during my, almost 3 years now, some things doesn't go well, and some things goes well, up and downs, and at times that when I forget what Rinpoche said, be patient. When I lose patience, I get in trouble. And that's normally the case. So what I'm trying to say is that everything what you talk about, enlightenment or patience, six paramitas, it's just so profound. it's because of the sentient beings giving you the opportunity. You know, there's no way you can access your patience if somebody, uh, if somebody uh, drive you crazy. Somebody might drive you really crazy, like, oh, I can't believe this is I can't deal with this, this is so hard. But then it's constantly kind of demanding you to remind your patients, right? So you just, you're painful in this. When you upset with somebody and then every reaction or every word that they say, anything that, has to individuals make you upset, but it's just so thankful because this is the only way to experience patience. What does patience mean? The definition of patience means be like tree. You are mentally, not affected by individual, especially the idea about likable or lovable. It can be applied at that moment. Instead of not only you are not losing patience, but also oh she or he is like still likable. The way she react, especially compassion wise. You want uh, everybody free from suffering, but this individual who is making you like irritate you means that this individual have a lot of suffering. So you want this individual suffering would be reduced. So compassion basically means that I want all sentient beings free from suffering. It's a beautiful, even like you think about loving kindness means I want all sentient beings achieve happiness and cause happiness. So when you look in the world, who's doing that? Right? Everybody's just after everybody's pushing their buttons and criticizing everything. This kind of very, so much turbulence going on, agitated world. Then someone could think this beautiful concept, even you can't practice it away. I want all sentient beings be happy and cause happiness, right? This is just so healing. As Shantandeva mentioned in his patient chapter, that even the whole place is the ground, the entire planet is covered by thorns, and you can wear if you have a nice, very solid shoe, and it doesn't bother you. So even though the whole world is little, agitating, so many politics going on, so many things going on, but you still could be, compassionate. You still could be, very patient. like there's a quotation from His Holiness 17 Kamapa. It's so beautiful. He said that uh, no matter how dark the world is, and we always inspire us to be a light. For the world. It's not simple because sometimes people say, "Oh, it's degeneration time, nothing can happen." It's just I'm gonna give up. This is the most the worst mistake you can make because practice patience or practice compassion. It has nothing to do with the individual, the world, or such. It has to do with your own environment, your own mind, because your mind is your mind, it's not others. So you could use excuse about, oh, this, he says this, she says that, circulating all these negative feelings or words, but at the end, um, uh, uh, the sentient beings. Sentient, there was exact word was the half of the enlightenment support come from sentient beings, and half of come from three jewels of Buddha's Bodhisattvas, because you supplicate to them, they give teaching and everything. But in order to practice, you have to have sentient being. Right? You have to have bodhicitta mind. I will never give up all sentient beings, and I will work for them, and I will pray for them. I will remove their suffering, and I will establish that state of enlightenment. But then somebody, your um, neighbor or even like best friends, slight things does to you something that you don't like. Some people say, "Oh, I can't take it." You just abandon them like nothing happened. So abandoning other sentient beings is breaking both sort of vow. So compassion means I really want all sentient beings free from suffering and cause of suffering, but not only just you are aspiring them, but also you really engage into this practice. So loving kindness, as I mentioned, just trying to think, oh, he or she is lovable or likable. Of course, the Buddha's teaching is so profound. There are so many different methods, but I just using some of the very handy practice. Something you can do. And oh, she's lovable. He's lovable. Okay, my partner, I thought, I can't get along. My family, I can't get along. It's just so painful. But at the same time, wow, they are lovable and they are likable. And then second is that not only they are lovable, they are likable, but they are also constantly every movement, every reaction, everything what they do is meant to free from suffering, free from suffering, free from suffering. So if you want to practice compassion, means that I want all sentient beings free from suffering and the cause of suffering. So you not only you are mentioning about that, then you have to practice. So how do we practice? Maybe three kind of things can be very direct practice. One is that compassion practice method would be like loving kindness, likable, lovable. I just only kind of choosing those words for you to practice. And compassion practice is that opportunity. Opportunity is very, very important. Opportunity. Compassion means I want all sentient beings free from suffering. So the moment the individual or your family members, or when you go out, you have, you're scared or you are upset or something. So you, instead of taking that so seriously, thinking, oh, this is an opportunity. Opportunity. What does opportunity mean? Opportunity to experience or take their suffering mentally. I wish that your suffering will be, you know, anger. If there's somebody get angry to you, instead of you getting angry, I wish your suffering of anger is diminished. I wish this. I take this opportunity. I wish instead of you take opportunity to get upset, I wish I take this opportunity to, may your anger diminish or may your anger disappear because this individual is suffering. Instead of you are annoyed, oh, look, why you are so. I'm a family person. I know that, sometimes, my family members, look like really bad mood. So I'm not, most times I kind of forget, but a lot of times I know actually he or she is suffering, So you take that opportunity rather than annoying. So this is one method I think can be helpful, suffering. And the second is that uh, when you experience negative from others, this is all about to integrate, how to integrate back to the world. When you experience negative from others, and you immediately thinking, wow, this is another opportunity to purify my negative karma. So you don't want to create another negative karma. Say, oh, I'm purifying negative karma by experiencing this negative feeling whatever, sense you are feeling from, or stress you are feeling. Oh, I'm purifying, I'm purifying, I'm purifying. Because suffering is the best way to purify your negative karma. Instead of you following that feeling and getting upset, but I'm purifying negative karma. So you once again reminded of taking that opportunity. And then third method, whether you are suffering or others suffering, once again I would like to use Nagarjuna's some of the teaching methods, saying, well, this individual who are suffering, I myself is suffering, or whatever, suffering going on, it's just passing by, very temporary, because it's just a means to diminish or impermanence. It's not like you'll be there forever, because it's just you experience anger or such, and if you are mindful, it means the moment it arises, it means to reduce or diminish, unless you just constantly, inspire anger by just, using your egoistic mind. But, when the moment this happens, it just means to diminish. So whatever suffering you experience, it's like a dreaming, it's like a illusion, it's like a, something happening right now, but also not really happening ultimately, not happening ultimately. And that actually related with what I normally teach. Even you are so much suffering happening right now, at this moment, at this right now, a lot of anger or whatever, stress happening, but nothing also happening, nothing happening with your primordial level. There are two things going on. One is this cloudies of sky. So many things, turbulence happen, but at the same time, nothing happening. The background of nothing happening. The space is spacious. Space is beautiful. It's all these clouds like very temporary. So, but we are so caught into this cloud, right? We are like airplane. If there's a turbulences, you can't go through. So you have to go back. So what I'm trying to say is that, kind of using the ultimate level, whatever you're experiencing or suffering, you're just simply thinking, oh, this is the illusion. This is impermanent. There's nothing happening at the primordial level. And then lastly, I did say three things, but lastly, teaching described that when you, it's a little bit related with the beginning where I talk about Nagarjuna's, like if you meet individuals who are very agitated and you're experiencing that, other person experience, but primordial level, you are, kind of connecting in that kind of, interdependent connection. In the future when you become Buddha, this individual be a part of your aspiration. So the aspiration will be the last. Aspiration means that even you cannot remove suffering of others or yourself, you're making aspiration in the future, this individual may I able to remove their suffering. So you're making, aspiration. So something like that. I'm just thought that maybe I just talk that much, and then maybe you can ask some questions related with what I said, which I already forgot. Please, por favor.
So Lama Karma,
That's me.
thank you so much for sharing how to get back into the world and participate. And what I've noticed is things seem so crowded. For so long, everything was so empty and spacious and open. And I tend to have anxiety. And now that there's like a bazillion cars on the road and so many people going out and everybody had 6 foot apart and everybody's moving closer together. I'm finding I have more anxiety. And I know that if I just stop, like you were saying, if I stop and I notice, have compassion and understanding, but sometimes it's hard to. I'm just feeling crowded. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I also saw that. I go to Woodstock and I feel, I feel that's why I was talking about, rejoice or delightful, because I feel that, and these individuals who are right now finally after locked down like more than years, they finally getting this opportunity and just so beautiful, so wonderful. And so our own anxiety, as I mentioned, it's sensed by ego, our ego, like, our ego is the king. And so, always trying to pull from the positive part, right? When trying to have compassion, then the ego comes like anxiety sense. So maybe you can constantly remind him that how, like a little bit of distance, right? Not like temporary or immediate, this noisy or immediate the image of what's going on in front of you, but just look at how they survived being through this, and finally they have this. You know, it's I remember a few years ago. You know, some of my friends went to a meat factory. Actually, it's a kitchen, like somewhere it's a restaurant kitchen. No, actually, it's a yeah. Like ducks. People eat ducks, right? And what can you do? So some of us, went to buy some ducks, and so when we went there, we saw all those ducks caged and extremely suffering, and I don't know how long they have been there. And normally, we don't really analyze. We just go to restaurant, just order duck, like, and just to enjoy. Wow, that's delicious. Which sauce you use? Such. But after we bought a few of them and then took to a pond, and there were about, I think, 11 of them, I think, and it's just so beautiful. They totally forgot that we are different species.
Yeah.
They totally forgot we are different species. They are just dancing, coming back to us, kind of, touching to your hands. So I could see, I was so joyful that how they move, how beautiful they are. Actually, I never really looked, at such dark, joyful. As a dog, and so I have similar feeling, and that when I see like Woodstock, this is a hippie place, right? So I see all these people come out and plan. It's kind of crowded, but at the same time, I think we really have to remind. Oh, I'm just so rejoicing, right? Finally, they really get to express their joyful emotion, and then police all this. It's just it's just you know, it's a moment that they were waiting for a whole year, right? So you probably, what I'm trying to say is that instead of trying to catch your immediate feeling, but maybe go back a little bit, reverse a little bit, or how this came about, right? And so then maybe you see a totally different world, right? So you can see that they are, you know, jailed or, caught into this cage for so long, and finally it's released, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
I know this is so big. The cup. Any other questions?
I think you said it all. I think it was so clear and precise and amazing. I don't even have a question. It was so good.
Oh, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
Sometimes, this teaching is very profound. It's very hard to explain, but after maybe our talk, maybe some parts could be useful. Okay, let's see which part is very, so you can do. Oh, this there. But actually, without talking, it's also nice just looking at each other, right? We came a long way.
Lama Karma, how are your yaks?
Well, yaks, I love them, but there are some news that the oldest male yak, we thought that you'll be fine, and he produced 2 baby yaks. Oh my God, just like him. I have now like 16 yaks all of a sudden, I mean, like we have 14 yaks, and we kind of fixed some other male yaks, but this is the oldest yak. He was like almost, wow, probably 20 years old or something, right? So we just didn't do anything to him. So now he has two beautiful babies. What can you do? And so they are in the vegan place. They are really, really happy. But I also know that this is not that easy. I have now like 16 yaks and 10 pigs, so I have 26 animals, and so renting and food and all this not easy, but they'll be fine. The people, they're so nice. They are really working hard to kind of have different ideas to support.
Mhm.
I took my son to see yaks and pigs recently, and he's more fond with pigs than the yaks because he was born in pigs. He's not afraid of this giant, enormous pig. He just go there, just touch it. So
When is Norbu's birthday?
it's October 1st, October 1st, and he's becoming 2 years old.
Oh
So
my
he's, yeah, I know. Time goes so fast.
Wow.
I have to chase him everywhere, so I get good exercise now. All right, so maybe we started 10 o'clock, no, 9 o'clock is 10:12. We do have a little time if you have any questions. Or
Lama Karma, is your presidency finishing soon this year? Is it this year? It's finishing?
I'm just so I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just so sad. Actually, I will be, my term will expire September 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So that means actually it's getting there, and that's right. I all the presidents, running the second term. And I'm just like, please kick me out. But I know, there will, I'm sure there will be, really someone that I'm just already wrapping up, kind of, and make sure everything kind of transferred to next, whoever that would be. So, yeah.
Who decides that, Lamala? Who decides who comes in next?
This one is normally appointed, the president, and that's what he did last time. He appointed me as a president, and so I already sent a request to His Holiness, and so I'm kind of waiting for that. Meanwhile, I just, as I mentioned, I kind of finish some of the jobs. We are currently working on the landscaping of KTT. I want to have some steps, behind KTT when they do circumambulation, stupa area, and some plantation, and native some plantation. There are some trees who are planted, but all the junipers all died, so check those out. So a lot to finish though. But if once I step down, please still don't forget to tell me, Mr. President.
Where is His Holiness right now?
I have no idea. I don't know anything where he lives. He gives teaching in Chinese. It's some of the Chinese speakers talk about, just amazing how they said that, they are Chinese, but they can't speak like him. That's his wisdom.
He'll have a birthday, right? June 26th, this Karmapa's birthday.
I heard that the actual birthday is June 19th, and then the official is June 26th. So we will be starting puja at June 19th. So you will see me on screen. I will be finally. I will be leading the puja because this is Rinpoche put a lot of effort to invite Tangu, Ludunyima Rinpoche, and the Lobanla to establish the long life puja. So that's my monastery style, and I was told that I have to do puja and the chanting master, and I also said I voluntarily I will do that because the psalms, melodies are very complicated. We did a lot when we were little, so yeah, you guys so lucky that you're gonna see me.
What date did you say you're starting that? June 19th?
June 19th, yeah, June 19th to June 25th, and then June 26th will be his son's, birthday puja in the morning.
Broadcast on the YouTube from KTD Shrine Room.
Facebook, the whole 7 days. So actually, it's 8 days.
Just the Lamas, Kempos, no, not
Yeah,
open to anybody.
Lamas, Kembos, and some of the Lamas, of Carmelite is coming. So they're probably about 25 or something. And then some of the people, the staff or others may join a little bit. But, we don't have any outside people since we openly on July 1st.
Wendy and I will see you in August. We're coming up.
Sorry?
Wendy and I are going to be in Wisuki in August. So we're going to come to KTD.
Oh, wow.
We're going to see you guys.
That's wonderful. You guys driving or?
We're going to catch a ride from Manhattan and stay with Suki. And then we're going to go, and then we're going to come over to the monastery, do Chenrezi one night.
So did you say you'll be flying or driving?
We're gonna be in New York anyway. We're gonna be in the city, and then we're gonna
Okay.
get a ride from a friend up to Saugerties, right
Hmm.
by you guys. So see
That's
you there.
wonderful. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah, Suki is doing very good and she's really happy and she's doing a retreat and
Yeah,
that's nice. So whoever comes from there, you have a place to stay.
yeah, that's gonna be great. We told her we'd help her with everything in our house. That's how we'll do our payback.
Or karmic yoga,
Our karma yoga. Our karma yoga.
karma yoga. I would say karmic.
So another question about KTD, is there any plans to have teachings again? It's a bit too early, right? At the moment, it's just,
Mm,
you obviously do pujas and everything, but will there be teachings soon again as well?
Not in person yet.
Okay.
I know that, there will be, Tenji teaching, not Tenji teaching, actually it's Rinpoche established. It's more like Rinpoche style, but Cambodia may teach that sometime in August or something. So I want to see how things will go. And if there's a in-person teaching, then, I will see how it goes.
Yeah.
I think one troubles me is hopefully then the Indian Delta, the whatever strain or nothing, will not spread in the United States. That's actually very scary. But generally, I really think things getting better. Everybody's vaccinated, much, improving a lot. But we'll see.
And you think, in future, even if it's in-person teachings, do you think it would be possible to join, like for us to join, like, I don't know, you offer like that you can watch it on Zoom or something like that? Will that be possible in future, you think?
Yeah, definitely. KTD hasn't used Zoom much, but we will, just webcast on streaming, right? So this
Yeah.
becomes, it's actually a pandemic kind of help us to. I also know how to do Zoom myself now, so I just kind of began start. So another word, to answer your question, yes, I think not only there will be in-person teaching in the future if life goes to normal, but also we want to give opportunity to other people to watch, some of the jazz or maybe some simple teachings,
Yeah.
And I'll probably be gone long term. I probably, I'm just joking.
President in hiding.
Yeah, and Dada will go. Daniel, how's Pama?
She's good, thanks. Doing well. Yeah.
And dog's good.
Diesel, he's okay. He's getting old now. He's not walking as much.
How old is he?
He's almost 16.
Wow, 16.
Yeah.
But you never know. I thought Chikara, the yak, is 20 years old, was pretend stumbling all of a sudden. All of a sudden, he got all this young age and produced 2 yaks. Okay, now let's don't talk about too many crazy jokes. So maybe we better wrap up.
Uh-huh.
But I would like to thank to everybody. You all look good. I totally
Thank you.
happy, and I hope some of my talk, from this would help because I always say to you that even though I give teaching, I'm one of you that also suffering daily, a lot of stress, a lot of unpredictable things happen, especially Mr. President, not easy, right? So there's so many things coming from different direction. And so every time I remember what Rinpoche said, practice patience, right? It's just the best weapon you can use, what I learned from this presidency or this job is that people sometimes really, come to you or through email or such, and sometimes we have a tendency to reply right away, and you got angry, and then that's how you can make a mistake. And I just learned that, okay, let's sit on this for a few days. I'm a president, right? And after a few days, it's not as seriously what you think. Because you're a little sensitive. And then the other part is that, sometimes, there's negative things happens, but then the person who does that also kind of comes back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So sometimes that's the patience, right? So you kind of stay on that. I learned a lesson that is so good. I think, every time I remember what Rinpoche said, be patient or you'll be fine. That's all. So I would like to dedicate the merit of today's session for the benefit of all sentient beings, especially may we able to remind ourselves to practice compassion, which means that if others, the people negative towards you, realizing that whether it's your family members or friends, and realizing that they are also suffering a lot, and instead of taking them as negative and opportunity to practice compassion, and with loving kindness, and if you see your loved ones, the others kind of sometimes bad mood or negative or such stress, and you also not only focusing on that negativity but also likable and lovable. Even there's a lot of songs that people say, even you are angry, you're still beautiful. If you stressed or negative, you are still lovable. So sometimes it's very healing when you think about those. So maybe able to not only talk about but also integrate with our daily practice and also pray for long life reasons, Kamapa, all the great masters, and also continuation of our Master Kimball Rinpoche's activities, and pray for all those people who are going through tremendous difficulty in India and other places with the COVID or the new Delta strain. And so basically, may we as a practitioner become the inspiration for the world. Sonamde Tamje Zavanya, Tanya Dana Banzane, Jagana Jabala, Truba, Silver Tolendo, Adora Show, Jambla Power, Chitrachamba, Kanto Zombo, Tayanti, Telakan Jiji Dollars Givan, the Tamjero Dongo, Chonju, Sano Rimboche, Machi Panachi, Jiba Nyamba Mebado, Kone Konda Vera. Thank you. Oh, Bruce, you have two people behind.